Hey, sports fans, and you just saw 30 seconds of behind-the-scene chaos here at the PBZ Sports Chaos as we get all set to go. That's what happens when greatness is about to take place. And we got greatness this weekend, PB. The two best words in sports are
playoffs.
7.
Oh, game 7s, yeah.
It's seventh heaven. We got 7 game 7s in the NBA and NHL this weekend collectively. 2 in the NBA, 5 in the NHL, and I'm a little disappointed because really we should have had 6 in the NHL. The Capitals should have hung on at home to beat those bedeviled Panthers who do not look good in my mind. Now, I know you picked them to go all the way. We'll talk about that another day, but I'm not impressed so far, so we'll see. And the Grizzlies cannot pull off the win last night in San Fran and beat the Golden State Warriors after the 55-point game they had against them in game 5 when they eventually won by only 39. So those are my 2 takeaways. What about you? Any other takeaways before we get to some predictions?
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you on the Panthers. I mean, they went down 2-1, and then they went and won 3 games in a row, 2 of them on the road. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And I told you going into this thing, the Capitals had the worst playoff record. I mean, the worst home record of any team in the playoffs, and they proved it. They lost 2 games at home. They couldn't force the game 7, unlike many of the other teams that were resilient enough to force their game 7. So we'll talk about that too.
Sure. There was a lot of game 6s that took place, right? We'll talk about that are causing these game 7s. But I will just say this. If the Capitals had any iota of defense, they win that series, I think. So, in my opinion, the Panthers, if they play a good defensive team, which I hate to say, we're going to talk about one of these in a moment, and I'm not going to hate the prediction I have to make, but they're going to be in trouble against a good defensive team.
Yeah, I think no matter who wins that game 7 between the Lightning and the Leafs is going to be a tough opponent, no matter what.
All right. Well, let's get into these game 7s. You just said it, we had some epic game 6s. By the way, the first game being played today at 4:30 is none other than Bruins against Carolina. And I hate to say it, this series is 6-0 home team right now.
It's the only of the game, all these game 7s we're talking about, they're the only series where the home team has won every single game. So
and by 2+ goals every single game.
Yeah, right. So if you like betting the puck line, you're doing good there. But I'll tell you, anything can happen in the NHL. Anything can happen in a game 7. So I'm not going to write this off that the Bruins can't win this game down in Carolina. I don't like the way the Bruins have looked in Carolina at all. And that scares me. But because it's a game 7, and because it's hockey, because it's the NHL, I'm giving them a chance.
PB, I know these guys. Well, some of these guys, believe it or not, here's 2 stats for you. The Bruins have the all-time record for most game 7s played in NHL history. If you could believe that, 28 games, they're 15-13 in those games. And by the way, you say, well, that might have been a lot of the old Bruins, right? Bergie is now playing in his 14th game 7 for the Bruins.
Wow. Well, of course, you have to look back in the day, they weren't as many teams. So you only had like 1 round or 2 rounds. Now you have 4 rounds potentially, right? So there's more opportunity to play in a game 7 in the modern day, you know? So
does the Bruins experience, although they don't have it in the goal, unfortunately, that's the one weakness for them. They don't have experience in the goal. But does their seasoned history, a lot of those guys, especially the top line, have played in 1 million game 7s. Does that help at all?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, I think that's why I said it's the NHL and it's hockey and anything can happen. I'm not writing this game off at all, despite how the Bruins have looked in Carolina.
All right, so let's make the prediction right now. What do you think?
Man, if I had to put money on the game, I'm betting Carolina, but obviously my heart is totally with the Bruins.
I'm with you as well. I wish they can, but I don't know that. I just don't see it happen, especially the way they got beaten Carolina so far, even in the regular season, right? So yeah, I don't see that happen. All right, the other big one, Pittsburgh and New York, right?
Yeah, for New York to be down 3-1 and win the last two games, one of them on the road last night, right? On the road, to force the game seven. So I think New York Rangers and the Edmonton Oilers are in the same position where they had to go on the road in their game six and win on the road to force that game seven, right? Whereas like the Bruins, for example, their game six was at home, so they had to force the game seven. So they get to come home now for their game sevens, right? So I really like the Rangers to be able to come back and win three straight, down 3-1, and win this series. I think they have the momentum. They got the home ice in game seven. I'm picking the Rangers to win that one.
And that game is tomorrow, as you said, in New York. That's not one of the three that played today. But is Sid Crosby, he was out last night. Is he not going to play tomorrow either?
I'm not sure if he's officially out or if it's a game time decision, but
all right. If Sid doesn't play, I'm with you. Rangers win that one. If Sid plays, I'm going to stick with my original prediction of the series. Pittsburgh wins it. We'll see. But I'm not so sure that Sidney's going to play. So Sid, the kid,
yeah, because you got Pittsburgh going all the way to the conference finals, right? So you're gonna need them to win. Okay.
All right. The other one today, the Lightning and Maple Leafs are today, correct?
They are. Yeah, that's the 7:00 game today. So
that's it's in Toronto.
Yeah.
Hockey night in Canada are Saturday nights, right?
Yeah, and I think we both said the series is going to go seven. We said this could have been one of the best series of the 8 opening rounds, and it's proving out to be that way. So Tampa Bay did force their game seven at home, but now they got to go back up to Toronto. But they did win once. They did win a game up in Toronto.
Correct. They both had split at home. I mean, they both had won one game on the other team's ice.
Right. So this game is not out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, just like we talked about with the Bruins and the experience, the Lightning have played a lot of playoff games the last few years, being the defending two-time champions, right? Going for the trifecta here. So experience is on their side, but Toronto's looking good too. But this is going to be a great game. I don't even know if I want to make a prediction, but I know you got the Leafs going all the way to the Cup. And I don't know, man. I think the Lightning are going to figure out a way to win this game, and Toronto's going to continue their teasing. They're like the Red Sox before the Red Sox could break the curse. They seem like they tease you every year, the Maple Leafs, and then they just can't break through. So that's why I'm going with the Lightning in this one.
Has any team won 2 in a row in this series yet? I don't think it has, right?
Good point. I don't believe so. So there
you go. There's my answer.
All right. So
I got Toronto because there's not been 2 in a row won, and it's in home ice. Hockey night in Canada. It's going to be crazy in Canada tonight for sure.
It is.
All right, we got another game in Canada tonight, correct? LA Kings against the Edmonton Oilers, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. And I was thinking Calgary, but that's tomorrow. That's another one. Okay. So, right. We got Edmonton. And here's a team that went on the road to win their game 6 in LA. They get the luxury of coming back home, much like the Rangers, right? For their game 7. So for the same reason I picked the Rangers, that's why I'm taking the Oilers. I think they're a more talented team. I think they have that momentum. Winning that game 6 on the road to force a game 7, coming back down 3-2 would be quite a story. And I got them, I think, playing. Yeah, I got them in the conference finals against the Avalanche. So I got to take.
If I remember correctly, we both had this series a sweep, I think.
We may have a 5 or something like that. Yeah. So we didn't think the Kings.
LA has played out of their mind to force a game 7 at this point. I mean, matter of fact, they were down. I mean, Edmonton was down 3-2. They had to win the game 6, as you just pointed out. Now they got to come back and win another one again.
Yeah, but at least it's at home. It's up in Canada, like you said. I'm still going with the Oilers. Why, are you taking the Kings or?
So I'm thinking, Mark Messier, he's not playing for Edmonton tonight. Wayne Gretzky, he's not playing for them tonight. Paul Coffey, he's not playing for them tonight. I'm going to still take Edmonton.
Connor McDavid, though, is playing for them tonight.
Yes.
So.
All right. You got it. I'm taking Edmonton. All right. The last game 7, another game in Canada on Sunday night now. Stars go up and they play the Flames. This is another series that some people have the Flames going to the finals, right?
Yeah. Someone's got the Flames winning the whole thing. So, and here's another series that's been, I think, on back and forth. I don't know if any teams won 2 in a row in this one either.
I don't think so. No.
So, but again, you got your game 7. It's back at home. Now, this is the opposite, right? They went on the road to try and, much like Florida, they went on the road in game 6 to try and clinch it. And they, like Florida, did clinch it and won game 6 to win the series in 6. Calgary could have done the same thing last night. They could have went into Dallas and just took care of business. But no, Now they have to come back home for their game 7. So this one I could go either way, but I'm going to stick with the Flames. Just the Flames are the number 1 seed. Well, I think they were the number 1 seed. No, Colorado was the number 1 seed, but they won their division. So they're going to win.
Of all these game 5s, would this be the biggest upset if the Flames lost this one? I mean, all these game 7s, I'm sorry.
Game 7s. Yeah, because they have the best record and they're playing like it's a 2 versus 7 type setup almost, right? So
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say so.
I would agree too. If Flames lose, it's a huge upset. All right, let's move over to the NBA. We could have had more game 7s. Philadelphia, which looked like they were going to be on a roll, they got back to Philly. We thought they might be able to beat Miami because they were playing well, and then James Harden stuff did not show up at all, not one bit. Philly got knocked off, so we don't have them in a game 7 this weekend, but we do have interesting series. We talked about in the NHL with the Bruins and the Hurricanes, both teams undefeated at home. The late game tomorrow figures with has the Mavs going out to face Phoenix, right? Both teams are 3-0 at home. Mavs have been very impressive. They won huge in game 6. Speaking of another veteran player, guard, who does not seem to show up in the big games in the playoffs lately, Chris Paul has not looked good for Phoenix at this point in time. What do you think happens? And then Luka Doncic, who I'm not a fan of. I know he's a great player. I know everybody loves him, but I think he's a little bit of a cheap shot artist myself. What do you think in this game?
Yeah, we both have the Suns in the finals. I have them against the Heat. You have them against the Bucks. And I'm not going to pick against them until they show me otherwise. I mean, you just said they're 3-0 at home. They're playing at home. I didn't think this series would go 7. I thought this might go 6. They couldn't take care of business in Dallas, but I still think they find a way to win the game 7. So I'm taking Phoenix.
I'm with you. I think so as well. And Devin Booker goes off. I don't know if Paul will play great, just as long as he doesn't play horrible, just play average, and they'll be all right, I think, in that game. But man, if Doncic goes off, I don't know. But the role players in Dallas just don't play well on the road. So to your point, the math is going to keep going at this point in time. I'm with you. All right, the last one we're going to talk about. The home team, the Boston Celtics, they forced a game 7 last night. Jason Tatum, I mean, they live and die by the 3. That's what scares me. Jason Tatum went off with 3 points, especially in the fourth quarter. 46 points, the second most ever in a closeout game, potentially. It's unbelievable. The Celtics just find a way to win these games. Talk about history. They're 24-9 in game 7s. Milwaukee is 3-8. And oh, by the way, they're 0-3 against the Celtics historically in game 7s, including last one was 2018. Giannis did play in that game, so didn't Tatum. What do you think?
Yeah, and you know what? On our NBA playoff preview show, we both picked the Bucks in 7. We both had the same Final Four. We both had Bucks, Heat, Suns, Warriors, and we're 2 game 7s away from nailing our Final Four, both of us. So if we go off of that, we both picked the Bucks in 7. So I can stick with my guns, but I really like what I'm seeing here with the Celtics. Even the games they lost, that one where they had the tip at the end, that was basically like a fraction, 1,000th of a second. They would have won that. I think it was game 3 or game 4.
Game four.
And then even the other night, they had the same thing at the end of the quarter, or the end of the half, where they missed it by like a fraction of a second. So they've been like right there in the games. Whereas Milwaukee, the games they're losing, they're getting like blown out, right?
Right.
It seems. So, but the other thing is the home teams are 1-2. Both home teams have only won 1 game at home. So, man, you know, I like what I'm seeing on the Celtics. Same thing with the Bruins, right? My heart is 100% with the Celtics to win this game, but my head, which I picked in the NBA preview, is the Bucks. So I got to go with the Bucks if you're making me bet the game.
All right, here's a couple things I tell you about. For me, first of all, Giannis has been unbelievable, but I also think Giannis commits a lot more offensive fouls than is getting called. He plays a lot of bully ball. He literally runs into you, hopes that there's no call at all, or he gets the call in his favor, or he scores a basket, right?
Yeah,
I think
he
if the
did that with
Celtics get some calls.
yeah.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say he did that with Marcus Smart the other day. The Celtics reviewed it. They thought it was offensive, but they still called it on Smart. He didn't have his position. So yeah, I agree with you. You see a lot of that, but I think at the end of the day, Giannis, he can put a game on his shoulders, and he can put a team on his shoulders. And
He's
I don't
doing
know
that right now. I mean, he's almost averaging 40 for the series. He's had 3 games when he's been 40 and 10 for crying out loud.
Yeah. So I think big game, he shows up. That's why. And again, I don't like backing up on what I mean. We made the prediction. We both made the prediction on our NBA preview show, so it's right in line. Why would I go against what I predicted, right? Unless someone gets like injured or there's some crazy thing going on. That's why I'm sticking with my guns there.
So speaking of injury, here's a thought. I made this prediction way back, probably with a month left in the season, just the weekend before Robert Williams got hurt. If Robert Williams could be healthy, the Celtics could go all the way. He's out right now. He's missed 3 games. He tentatively may come back for Game 7. If Robert Williams could play in Game 7, and if the referees come in open-minded and call some of those charges and some of those travels on Giannis. And by the way, Marcus Smart does not touch the ball with 49.5 seconds left because of what happened in Game 5, right? So I'm going to say this. I'm with you. I think the Bucks are the better team probably because they're experienced. I'm going Celtics. Yes, I'm changing my pick.
So you're going against what you picked but here's the thing, Z. You have the Bucks.
I have them winning it all. I have them winning it all.
You had them not only that, but you had them sweeping. You had them sweeping the Heat, right? So now that's out of play because you got the Celtics, and the Celtics Heat would be a great.
I'm sorry, I'm a homer. I can't help it. I'm playing with emotion right now. I'm having bourbon. I'm drinking Heineken. I'm sorry, I lost my mind.
You know what? My heart's right there too. I think the Heat Celtics would be an epic Eastern Conference Final series. I would love to see that, but we'll see. We'll know later today. We'll know later tomorrow.
3:30. Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Unfortunately, both the Boston teams play in the afternoon. It stinks here in Boston because it's 80 degrees out this week. And finally, you'd want to be outside, but your heart says I got to watch the game. So we'll see. All right, PB, good show, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. All right.